Lindor at third, Nimmo at first. The pitch. Swing and a ball drilled. Right field. Frelick back. At the wall. Out of here! It's out of here! Alonso, an opposite field home run, and the Mets have the lead.
Together with Earle Sports Bets, yeah, the twins, they be checking in, stacking up. Green is the scene that you're stepping in. Winning is a trend, and we stay making dollars. Nerd talk with the sports bet scholars. Yeah, R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies.
We are. You're not muted. I'm not muted. Ooh. There we go. We are live. Welcome back to another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. My name is Nicholas Earle. I'm joined here as always by my brother Tim. And today, well, we don't have too many games to talk about because, we have one professional game being played today, and it's a sport we haven't talked about in months, which is fun. We get our first NHL game of the season. The Buffalo Sabres take on the New Jersey Devils. And then what we're going to do is, seeing that this show is not one game long, because, we could have just recorded a free pick video like I did last night for the Sabre game and moved on and said no show today because there's no other games. We're going to talk some futures. We're going to break down what we expect from the NLDS, the NLCR, and the ALDS. We're going to break down some trends that I looked up as well. So we're going to go through all of that. But before we get to today's games, before we get into today's slate, recap of yesterday. I went 1-0 in baseball to close out the wild card round. Had the first 5 under 4. Was as easy as it gets. Quintana was awesome. Tobias Myers was awesome as well. That was a hell of a matchup through 6 innings with pitching, because both those starting pitchers, they worked out of jams. They weren't perfect, but damn, did they pitch well when their teams needed them to pitch well. And then it was the 7th inning where it was Jake Bauers and Sal Frelick going back-to-back on back-to-back pitches to give the Brewers a 2-0 lead. And we went to the 9th. Devin Williams, one of the best closers in baseball, comes out there, walks Lindor, striked out Vientos. Mm-hmm. Then what a hell of an at-bat from Nimmo, and not doing too much and hitting it up the middle. And who else but the player I've probably called a worthless piece of shit about 15 times during the baseball game, Pete Alonso, comes up there and finally does something. Like, he had been non-existent that entire series, and he comes through when it matters the most. A 3-run home run, and then it was a strikeout of Iglesias, I believe, or a ground out or something like that. Then they hit Winker. He steals second. Marte drives him in to make it 4-2. David Peterson comes into the 9th, gives up a leadoff single to Sal Frelick. So I was like, oh crap, here we go again. No lead safe. They get the strikeout, and then they get I forgot who it was, to grind into a double play to end the game. And the Mets advance to the National League Divisional Series. The other 2 games sucked last night because I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who blew a lead at the end there. It was just unbelievably frustrating that at one point they were like minus 1,400 to win the game with like 2 minutes left. And the Falcons get the ball, they go down, kick a field goal, and they win in overtime. That was frustrating. And UTEP was the wrong side. Yeah. They get blown out in the third quarter, which really put the cover out of reach, and they lose 41-21. I took 10.5 with them. It was a loser, though. So overall, it was a losing day yesterday, but I didn't care.
It was a 2-2 day for me. UTEP didn't get there. The over in the Mets game didn't get there. But the Mets got there, and so did Texas State. So it ended up being down 0.07 units on CapperTek. It is what it is. I will trade that every single day to watch my Mets be able to play in the National League Divisional Series. My postseason shirt has been purchased, and I'm ready for some more Mets baseball. And now that they made the playoffs, I think after the playoffs are over, we'll see how far they get. I will be getting a new Mets jersey because I said once the Mets make the playoffs, I'll get a new Mets jersey. The last time they made the playoffs, in my opinion, was 2015 because I count the DSCS World Series. That's playoffs, not the wild card. So I'll be getting a new Mets jersey soon.
Who else though? But other than it's got to be Lindor, right?
I feel you know me. I don't like to go after the big name players, or the I don't like going after the top players on the team. Although I'm probably looking towards Nimmo.
I was going to say Nimmo is probably the safest option. He signed his long extension. He's going to be with the team for a while, and he's an everyday starter, so I can get that.
But there you go.
I want to get Iglesias.
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to be on the team long enough. I would customize it to say Candelita. But Nick, you can go to the chat and we'll.
We got a live chat this morning here, Tim. This is going to be fun. Buffalo money line.
That is the perfect
way to start the show. Yes. Spoiler. Yes. Falcons -1.5 cashed. You got lucky. Texas State -13.5. There you go. And then Brewers money line lost, but what a game, 2-1 on the day. I'm guessing that's tennis. I commend you, ESB. I remember Big Nick saying that there might not be a show today, and they still show up. Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to do one or not, and then I figured we can probably talk some futures as well. So yeah. How do you not start off by saying that the Mets game was electric? Mets fans must be so pumped today. Yeah, that was definitely a game that played with my emotions an awful lot. But damn, this whole Mets fan base needs something positive because they haven't. I've never seen like a team that, I mean, obviously with the 2015 run where they lost in the World Series. I've never had a team that was this much fun. Like the 2015 team was fun. This team is something different. I don't know what it is, but this was more fun than the 2022 Mets during the regular season, which won 101 baseball games. Yep. This was more fun than the 2016 Mets that went through all those injuries and scraped their way into a wild card spot after winning the National League.
Yep.
This is different than the 2015 Mets. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Told you about the Mets. Yeah. Falcons won? Yep, they did. I turned off the game with 3 minutes ago. Yeah. Breaking news, 446 found dead in his apartment after Pete Alonso legacy games ends him for life. That is hilarious.
Now, I can confirm he's alive because even after the game when we're all celebrating and all excited about it, he's still sending me stuff about the Phillies. So, I don't know. We can't be happy. It's just got to be on to the next thing.
Hey, we're on to Philadelphia. That starts tomorrow. I bet the Mets, I just said on paper, it made no sense. Nice intro. I had to get the clip in there. I had to. I texted Tim 3 p.m.
Yes, you
legacy
did.
Game for
yes,
Pete Alonso. That's awesome. Yeah. We know. It's your Brewers. The Brewers had a hell of a year, but I said this, Tim, throughout the year, and you were excited about this Brewers team, rightfully so, but I said this was going to be a hell of a regular season team. They ain't built to win in the playoffs. And we've seen it again. The Brewers struggle in the playoffs. They take advantage of a bad division. And when you're betting Brewers futures, it's always got to be the National League Central over their wins and nothing else. That's kind of the way I would approach Brewers. Nice job, Earle. I remember people were nuts deep on the Brewers. On the Brewers, yeah. And that was the case. During that entire series, everyone was on the Brewers game 1. A lot of people were on the Mets game 2. Everyone was on the Brewers game 3. How did that go? So, yeah. We got college hockey starting tonight. We got NHL hockey starting today. Michigan State plus 16.5. Good luck. Actually, Michigan State plus 23.5. Wrong game. Who does Michigan State play?
If they're that big of dogs, probably like Oregon. Yeah, Oregon.
Oh, I'm on the Ducks. Quack quack. I laid 24.5 with them, so I got a bad number. but I'm on the Ducks in that game. I just remember a lot of people yesterday were nuts deep in the Brew Crew. I said first 5 under 4. I did as well. And then I live bet the Mets after the first 5 innings just to have something to sweat in that game. What's good, Nicholas Handy? Weirdest hockey schedule ever. They copied the MLB with the Korea series.
Well, they did this last year. The hockey did it last year with who played the early games?
Those were preseason games.
No, they weren't.
Yes, it was the Kings and the Coyotes, and those were preseason games. They didn't have the Prague games until a little bit into the season.
Really?
Yeah. The first game of the year, I believe, was Pittsburgh and Chicago.
Oh, okay.
I remember that because they kept hyping up the Bedard-Crosby matchup.
Oh,
which, of course, I bet the Blackhawks, and they won that game. But, yeah, excited. Yeah, no Jeff Skinner on the Sabres. Let's see what happens. I think
that's a great thing.
I think at the end of the day, getting rid of Skinner will be positive for the Buffalo Sabres because it gives opportunity. And we'll get into that when we get into the breakdown. But I think the Sabres will be better off without Skinner.
I think Skinner will be better off in Edmonton too. So,
yep. Skinner is an Oiler. Buffalo has the best defense pairings in the NHL. They have a hell of a blue line. I will say that the Buffalo Sabres, if they're going to make a run this year, or if they're going to make the playoffs this year, it starts and it ends with that blue line. Absolutely.
Darling and Power are going to be really good again this year.
Yeah. Yesterday I said I think Lindor and Alonso break out the bats. Yeah. No Met had a hit. No New York Met not named Lindor had a hit in the first 8 innings.
Yep.
Brandon Nimmo's single to make it first and third was the first hit by a non-Lindor player that whole game, which was crazy. They won that one. I was wrong on Mets to score first. I don't know how I lost that. Simple, the Brewers scored first.
Exactly.
TCU minus 17. That's the only way I can look in that game.
I took the under.
Houston's
awful.
I have that game projected at 14, but I don't think my numbers are low enough on Houston yet.
Yeah, Houston's awful. They just got shut out by their former American Conference rival in not UCF, but Cincy. Thank you.
Yeah,
who is not good either. So
Alonso will get a statue after that.
No.
Right? I tried saying Sam Houston Bearcats. Yeah, I just thought on paper it was a really, really bad spot for the Bearcats coming in off of that massive outright win when they got outgained in that game as well. It was a big comeback. Hey, UTEP's just that fucking bad, apparently.
Yeah.
So Phillies versus Mets is what we all wanted. Absolutely. I don't know many people who wanted to see the Brewers make a run.
Besides Mets haters.
But besides Brewers fans and Mets haters, and even then, to make a run, though. The Brewers are a boring baseball team. They're I don't know. They kind of gave me 2015 Royals vibes, the Brewers, a little bit. Their pitching rotation was good enough. They put the ball in play. They steal bases, and their bullpen's elite. They reminded me of the 2015 Royals a little bit. So I'm glad the Mets were able to get by that. Mets versus Tigers World Series would be hilarious. If that would happen, I think we would need to live stream every single game with Detroit Lenny.
I don't know if we could. For
content's sake. Mets on quite a thrill ride. Yeah, it's been crazy. The Mets will come back. We'll come back. We'll go down in history. The Mets. Wow, I can't read. The Mets comeback will go down in history. I was happy with my first 500. Yes. I'm glad I went first 500, not full game under, even though the full game under won.
It won too, yeah. It was an 8. I had the over.
It would have been way too sweaty for me. Took TCU first half money line. That is expensive. It's college football. Talk college football. I did a free pick video for UNLV Syracuse. I think Tim did a free pick video for Houston TCU.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really talk college football. I mean, we could have typed up the games and did that, but
all of it's on the CapperTek.
Yeah. College sports are more of the exclusive stuff. We can answer questions and stuff like that, but we don't break down the college games on show. Yeah. I thought the Mets were fucked when Devin Williams came in with the lead. I look forward to seeing Gavin Williams pitch against the Tigers.
I kind of do too, but I know that I'm going to be on the Tigers. So
Them gritty Tags. Atlanta money line, Mets over 5.5, and Texas State half over plus 325. There you go. Got lucky with the Dirty Birds, but also unlucky with the Brew Crew. That's fair. This team is so Latino with the OMG theme. I love it. And I can't wait to see the remix get released with Pitbull. So that's going to be
that's
fun.
on the 11th, right?
I think so.
You know what's also on the 11th?
Their first home game, right?
No, Game 5 of the DS.
Oh boy. That was me. I love the Brewers, but I was on them game 2 and 3, not 1. Fair. Over in the Falcons game was money. I wish I'd bet the over. I was leaning towards the over there. I also a lot betted the plus 390. Yeah. Good night. UTEP didn't come through there. Yeah, UTEP did not. It was frustrating there. Once I saw Contreras was injured, I knew the Mets should win. Brewers couldn't go deep without him. Yeah, he looked hurt. Like, he had no speed. He struggled in that game, Contreras. I'm surprised he played.
Poor baby trumpets.
Yeah. They were preseason games as a Yotes fan, I remember. Yep.
Oh, okay.
They were in Australia last year, but this year they are mixing regular season with preseason. Yes, they played. But they did play. They did play in Prague last year, I think, and they played in Sweden last year too, if I remember right. That was the Toronto, Detroit, Ottawa, like wraparound, or no, Minnesota I think was in there too. They had a bunch of overseas games. Yo, what's good, Markel? Owen Power over half a point.
Yep.
I'd look in that direction.
Or have him.
Yeah, TGIF. Good luck this weekend. Yes. What's good stuff, Gio? Thoughts on Charlotte plus 8.5? I think the line's about right. I have the game at a 9.
I put a massive bet on ECU to beat the piss out of Charlotte.
Charlotte's not a good team, though. And the only thing that really worries me is the
line keeps moving. It opened up at like a 4.5.
It did? There's no way that opened up.
According to Circa, it opened up at a 4.5.
Wow.
And it's up to a 9.5 at some point in some books.
I definitely wouldn't take ECU now at 9 when you could have gotten 4.5.
I mean, when they win by 25, does it matter?
Probably not, but I don't know if they win by 25.
I think they beat the piss out of them.
It's still a road game, but yeah, we'll see. Dodger Blue will take it all. That lineup is deadly. I think the Padres beat them, and I know you're on the opposite side there.
I'm on the Dodgers, but that's beyond the point.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later in the show here. We'll talk Dodgers Padres series props and stuff like that. One college football talk each month live stream would go crazy. I kind of want to do starting potentially next year, maybe a members only type of thing where I go over 20 games or something like that, where I go and I talk some college football on certain games. Maybe what I'll do is I'll send a message out to members and they send me games that they want to hear or something like that. And I do a members only college football show where we go over those games, we talk through them and things along those lines. Maybe that's the way to approach it, is members only college football shows where they tell me the games they want to hear. I think that could be
interesting.
That could be interesting. And for me, I want to do that when I have more time to dedicate towards it, because I right now have classes and stuff like that. So I unfortunately don't have time to throw another show in there. But maybe next year we do, and maybe we can do that with college basketball as well, where we have a members only college basketball show 3 times a week or whatever, where they give us the games they want to hear and we talk over the games they want to hear. That could be a fun way to do it. We'll see. I still had no idea my Falcons bet until now. Sure you didn't. Aces first quarter, minus 190 money line. Their backs up against the wall.
Oh, wait, is WNBA today?
There's WNBA today? We could have talked some WNBA.
Yeah, starts on Friday.
There you go. Yeah, so you're paying minus 1. Yeah. Sweden was in November. Yep.
That's
Reds
right.
hired Terry Francona. I will tell you now, spoiler to when we do potential future shows for next year's MLB season, Reds over wins, Reds division, Reds pennant, Reds World Series. At the very minimum, win total and division will be bet for me. I'm going to be high on the Reds next year. They are this year's Padres. Next year's Padres. A team that lost a bunch of one-run games. They had a positive run differential. They had a lot of injuries. Their manager sucked. Terry Francona is going to take this team to the playoffs next year. I'm going to be big on the Reds.
Wasn't Terry Francona with the Guardians?
And the Red Sox. He won a couple World Series with the Red Sox.
Oh, no, I mean like last year.
I think so. Yes, because Stephen Vogt took over.
Okay. It's Vogue there. Okay, that's what I was asking. Okay.
Said I would become a member then. Yeah. That might be something we look to do. Now that's nothing for certain or anything like that. But are we ready to talk some hockey?
Let's do it. I may or may not have way too many props.
Let's get into it. We have the Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres taking on the New Jersey Devils. The Devils are on 140 favorites, total 6.5 in this game. Let me get up the cash flow now I'm going to look at market movements and cash flow in the NHL this year. Does not mean I'm going to use it that often, like for my actual cap, but I will keep it in mind this year when capping the NHL. Now, granted, it's not that big of a market compared to other sports, but this is a standalone game. It's the first one of the year. We have 14,848 tickets in, according to Action Network. We have 75% of the tickets and 69% of the cash. Nice. Is on the New Jersey Devils. 94% of the tickets, 95% of the cash is on the over. This line opened up with the New Jersey Devils as minus 150 favorites. It's now 143. So we have a 7-cent line moving here towards the Buffalo Sabres. Line opened up at a 6.5 at minus 106. It's now 6.5 at plus 101, suggesting that maybe we see a little bit of a lower scoring game here in the first one, compared to maybe the over will be in the second game, potentially, when it's Allen and Levi. I have this game as Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen taking on Jacob Markstrom. And these teams made some moves in the offseason. The Devils, I want to go through and see who that are. I should have had this up. When we look at offseason moves for the New Jersey Devils, They made some. I believe they improved their blue line. Obviously, they go out and get Jacob Markstrom to be their starting goaltender there. They did re-sign Nico Daws, so I think he might be the second or third string. They re-signed Dawson Mercer, which was a nice move for them there. Trying to remember, I think they got a blue liner. They re-signed Tomas Tatar. Trying to remember Brett Pesce. That's right. They got Pesce to a 6-year contract and Steven Nosek to a 3-year contract, 2 former Carolina Hurricanes. They named Sheldon Keefe as their new head coach as well. They get forward Curtis McDermott. So they made some moves in the offseason there. On the flip side, the Buffalo Sabres, they made some moves as well. Starting with hiring a new head coach. Don Granato out. Lindy Ruff in. Making his second go-round with the Buffalo Sabres. They recently re-signed Peyton Krebs to a 2-year contract. They give Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen a 5-year extension.
I love it.
Making it sound like he is their starting goaltender going forward. They pick up center Ryan McLeod. I kind of like that move there. They signed James Reimer to a 1-year contract. He'll probably be the third-string goaltender behind Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Devin Levi. He's also a nice veteran presence.
I think he more might be the second string, and Levi still develops this year,
which I wouldn't be surprised there. They did assign Devin Levi to Rochester. Now, I would not be surprised if they bring Devin Levi to Prague, though.
I think he already is.
I think he is with them in Prague. They also signed defenseman Kale Clegg, which I believe he was with the Vegas Golden Knights, if I remember. No, that's Nick Hague. But they signed another blue liner there. So they made some offseason moves. They also, what other ones? That was their acquisitions last year. Okay. So that will leave. Now let's get into the starting lineups here that we expect for for both these teams. The Buffalo Sabres, And this is something that I'm actually happy that the Buffalo Sabres got rid of Jeff Skinner.
I'm happy with that too.
Why? Because now the top line is Tage Thompson centering Alex Tuch and J.J. Paterka.
Yeah, Paterka.
Love that.
Love it.
Allows Zach Benson to move up to the second line with Jack Quinn and Dylan Cousins.
Love
Centering the third line is Ryan McLeod. They add Jason Zucker and Jordan Greenway, so that's kind of two former Minnesota Wild on the same line there. And then their fourth line, I don't hate. Sam Lafferty gives them a nice little bit of speed there with Nicolas Abu-Kabel. And I don't know who Beck Malistani is, but I've heard decent about him. This blue line has the potential to be one of the best in hockey. Rasmus Dahlin on the top line with Henry Jokiharju, Bo Byram with Owen Power, and Connor Clifton with Matthias Samuelsson. They project, let's see who they have project. They have Devin Levi as the backup, according to Daily Faceoff, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen being the starter. The New Jersey Devils, they were a very underwhelming team last year. They dealt with injuries. But if this team stays healthy, maybe they go back to where they were 2 years ago when they made a run to the second round of the playoffs, where they knocked off the Rangers in the first round before meeting the Hurricanes. Their top line is centered by Jack Hughes, who has the potential to be a superstar in this league. On his wings are Timo Meier and Jesper Bratt, a very strong top line. Nico Hischier will center the second line with Dawson Mercer and Tomas Tatar. Eric Hall on the third line with Stefan Nosing and Andre Palat. And on the fourth line, it'll be Curtis Lazar with Nathan Bastian and Paul Cotter. Their blue line was the big question mark last year, and they go out there and they didn't really do too much to it. They add Brendan Dillon to the top line with Dougie Hamilton. Jonathan Kovacev with Jonas Siegenthaler will be the second line. Seamus Casey with Simone Nemec on the third pairing. The starting goaltender this year will be Jacob Markstrom. Their backup will be Jake Allen. Brett Pesce and Luke Hughes will start the season on the IR. They're missing two of their top defensemen right off the rip. It is a problem here for the New Jersey Devils because I think Brett Pesce is going to bring a really strong defensive attributes to this team, and Luke Hughes has the potential to be one of the next star defensemen like his brother Quinn in Vancouver on the blue line. With that all being said, I'm going to challenge the Devils here in this spot. I took the Buffalo Sabres at plus 125 in this game. I don't think the Devils should be minus 140 versus the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres finished with 81 points last year, or no, 84 points last year. The Devils finished with 81. Yes, I'm aware the Devils dealt with injuries last year, but I think this line is way too wide. I will challenge the Devils to prove to me that they are an improved team over last year, and until then, I think they could be an overvalued team in the market. They have a projected win total of 100.5. I would look towards the under. That's just my first thoughts on that. I need to see this blue line improve. And until then, they're missing two guys on their blue line as well. I like to fade them in this first spot. Now, if Buffalo wins this first game, I might go to New Jersey in the second. That would probably be my look because I think these two teams split. So I think at the very worst, if you bet Buffalo both games, you'll go 1-1 and be up because they're going to be dogs both games. But I'm going to start off my season here. Sorry for the long breakdown. Give me the Buffalo Sabres at plus 125.
Permission to be a homer piece of shit for the first game of the season?
Okay.
Granted. Thank you. Give me the Sabres, and then I did a wall of player props. I know Terry would be proud. I did 6 player props. All of them, all of my player props, all of my NHL will go up on my CapperTek. I will say that now. I bet them all straight, and then I put them into a parlay just to have a little bit of fun. My point props are Rasmus Dahlin. This was my most expensive prop, Nick. Minus 101. Dylan Cousins, plus 106 for a point. Jack Quinn, plus 122 for a point. Owen Power, plus 144 for a point. 2 goal scorer props. Tage Thompson, plus 160. And J.J. Paterka, plus 180. Those are my props. I just wanted to have a little bit of fun and be a little bit of a homer piece of shit for the first game of the season. So I have a little bit invested in the Buffalo Sabres. Let's see a good game. Let's see a good start to the season.
Yeah. Head over to the chat, and then we can get into some baseball.
Wow, a lot of. I did not shut the TV off with 2 minutes to go. Bucks had first down. What happened?
I don't even remember. I wasn't really paying attention.
I hate the Devils. Paterka anytime goal. Andre Palat point.
Andre Palat
Goal.
That's a little bit of a shot. He's a third liner for the Devils, but that's worth a shot here.
Hockey market seems bigger than normal.
Yes, because it's a standalone game.
Power's point. Yes, I like power. I like power. Keyforth is rough. 2 no coaches. The under is where I'm leaning.
I could see a first period under as well.
Robert does not like me today. He's betting the Devils.
At least you're going for a big score.
Buffalo, yes. Buffalo sweeps the doubleheader.
Ooh.
I would love to see that.
I would like to take a little bit of a dive deeper into it. I don't know yet.
Then fall off later in the season. Hey, shut up. Over 6.5.
That was my original lean, but this market's telling me that these two teams could be a little bit more defensively responsible. And this is still one of the best potentially one of the best blue lines in hockey with the Buffalo Sabres here.
There you go. Are you on Guardians game 1?
I don't know yet. I will have to take a deeper look into it. I think the Guardians win the series. I think I don't know. That's a tricky spot, though.
I kind of want to take – we'll talk about the baseball in a minute, but I kind of want to take all the wild card teams in game 1 off their momentum.
We'll talk about that because there is a trend, and it's not as strong as you think it is.
Okay. Jack Hughes goal plus 120. Paterka goal plus 179. You know I like the Paterka goal. Tuck, Hughes, Darlene, Palat anytime goal. Tage Thompson's shots plus money is crazy. He's going to get the puck for sure. Sabres don't really have a star goalie. Pesce is injured and not playing well. Devils blue line doesn't look that great.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Devils blue line, which was a concern last year as well. I didn't like their blue line. So
Robert takes the Devils in the first period and then the Sabres full game.
It's not. I mean, it's a double result type of play. If you like the Sabres money line, but the Devils first period, it's pretty simple. Live bet the Sabres after the first period.
Dylan Cousins point. Yes.
I wouldn't bet both those pregame.
Paterka anytime goal is getting like a Matthews goal. It's priced like a Matthews goal.
Is it?
I
didn't even look
plus
at
160, plus 180 area.
I didn't even really look at what do you call it? Player props.
Like the over, Tuck assists and goal. That's one guy I didn't add. Was Tucky. I like it though.
Top one though, so it's not that he might be worth a look.
Cousins over 2.5 shots on goal. Won't talk you off of that one. They better put Rasmus Dahlin on the ice versus Jack Hughes' line. They probably will. He's probably going to be on the ice for a lot. So Mike Glennon should make a return to the NFL. No, he shouldn't. He's awful. Dahlin will get 25 plus minutes. You better add Dahlin point to your parlay. Oh, captain, my captain. Yeah, I would think so.
The new captain, yeah.
The new captain. Dahlin point. The Devils' defense sucked last season. It's probably going to be bad again this year.
Which could mean Sabres team total over. Maybe that's my play in the second game is a Sabres team total over. We'll see.
Paterka's shot ladder is worth a look. I could see Thompson feeding him the puck in his hometown. That's right. It is Paterka's hometown. Hamilton is a seriously good defenseman, but who is he? Who do they have
here's the thing, though, is what is Dougie Hamilton going to look like? He was hurt all of last year, and he's more of an offensive-minded defenseman anyway. Like, he's not somebody where I'm going to rely on strong defensive minutes on the blue line from Dougie Hamilton.
There you go. What do you think about race to 3 goals?
I would lean Sabres, obviously, because I like the Sabres in this game. I could see 3-2 Sabres.
I hope so. Good morning, gentlemen. I see a 4-3 game. Sabres coming from behind.
That's a fair look.
That's fair. Congrats to the Mets. Yes, that was awesome last night, but we're not going to keep talking about it. This is a revenge game for Lindy Ruff.
Oh, that's right. The Devils fired Ruff last year. Oh.
It's the first Sabres day of the year. You know the play. The over, Sabres money line, Tage Thompson. Anytime goal. You already know I'm going to agree with that stuff. Andre Palat, the only player from Czech.
Ooh, that's a great angle. I didn't even realize that.
As a Leafs fan, I want the Sabres to do well. It's too bad Sabres fans don't feel the same about us.
No, they wouldn't and they shouldn't, honestly. And here's the thing with the Maple Leafs this year is this is probably a future that end up on my card, and I'm gonna wait till the day before the puck drops for the regular season. I'm gonna take the Maple Leafs under their win total. I see them regressing this year. I do. But if I'm looking at season-long player props, I'm looking at Mitch Marner because he's a UFA at the end of the year. Look at you. And if you guys are looking at season-long player props, look for UFAs and RFAs. UFAs specifically. I mean, we saw what Reinhardt did last year.
Yeah. I wonder if the Braves regret leaving Sale off the roster.
He couldn't physically pitch.
He was injured.
It's nothing they could have done.
No.
Which sucks for the Braves. I wanted to see a full-strength Braves versus Padres series. Like, that would have been electric to see that series be even because we all know that season one series wasn't even, and the Padres were going to win before the Braves even took a plane there.
But you know who's to blame for, right?
Who?
The Braves.
Yeah, because they didn't reschedule the doubleheader.
Exactly. So I don't feel as bad for him. Put a coffee bet on Royals Mets World Series.
Oh, good God. Well, here's the stat that I saw the other day. Every single time in the Royals franchise history that they've made the playoffs, they've gone to the World Series.
Did you see the stat that every single team that's beaten the Brewers have at least made the World Series in the playoffs?
There you go. Royals Mets confirmed. Rematch of 2015.
Not to mention, I believe there's a pitcher on the Royals that's been to the World Series six straight years.
Smith. It's Will Smith. He's won it 3 straight years in a row. He's the Patrick Maroon of the MLB. If you know who Patrick Maroon is.
I thought he was the one that keeps losing them.
That's Corey Perry.
Patrick
Maroon won with the Blues, and then he won back-to-back with the Lightning.
There you go. Over first period. See, overtime, I hope not.
I could see a draw in this game. I really can. I wouldn't bet a regulation price.
Here's to hoping this year's NHL game is actually worth playing. Shake my head. The last one was trash. Video games. There you go. You got the AL to win, and the Yankees to win the AL, San Diego for the NL.
There's no excuse for the New York Yankees to not make the World Series this year. Your matchup in the playoffs are the Kansas City Royals, neither the Tigers or the Guardians. There's no excuse whatsoever. The Yankees better make the World Series. No excuse.
And it should be pretty convincing. Like they got to win 7 games. They should be 7-1.
I would say 7-3, 7-4.
They should run through everybody.
They should win in 4 against Kansas City, and then they should win in 2 or in 6. They should lose 2 against the Tigers or the Guards.
Yeah, we'll talk more baseball in a minute. Devils are way too overvalued this year. Keefe is an overvalued coach. My nephew could coach the Leafs to a first-round exit.
Yeah,
so can I.
Yeah, and for me, I would only look towards the Devils to miss the playoffs again. Like, this is a team on paper every year. It feels a little bit – now, granted, they've had a little bit more success than the other team I'm about to compare them to. The Sabres. It feels like on paper they should make the playoffs, and they don't. Or the Devils continuously underachieve every single year. They're a team that I'm not going to trust whatsoever. Ever.
And you shouldn't. That makes sense. Yeah, Keefe is a donkey. You're not paying attention to the Leafs at all. They are seriously way better already.
Are they?
You got Padres game 1 with Cease.
Cease and Yamamoto is the pitching matchup for that one. The line's already moved towards the Padres. I mean, you know where I'm going to be on that game. I'm going to probably be back in the Padres almost every game of the playoffs, probably.
I think I'll be on them game 1, and then I'll be on the Dodgers the rest of the series. Because I think I'm going to be on all the wild card teams game 1.
Cole versus Waka is an interesting matchup for that ALDS game 1.
Got the San Diego NL and the series to beat the LA Dodgers.
Yes, I like the Padres to beat the Dodgers. Yeah, I agree with that.
The Leafs AHL players are winning against top line Habs and Detroit lineups. never allowing more than one goal. Leafs look scary.
That's preseason. Yeah.
I'm not worried about preseason.
My bad. The Leafs probably have a good regular season and get bounced in the first round again. I apologize.
Oh, Perry Stanley Cup championships hunting is still 0 with his time with the Ducks.
Yep.
Okay, betting the Yankees to win the pennant. Honestly,
I think you've missed your line at this point.
Yeah, you probably have, but there's no reason why they shouldn't.
They're given an absolute cakewalk to the World Series this year.
Yep. Sorry, guys. All I want is OT back in my life. Jeez. Maroon's a legend. I have a video of him playing roller hockey.
Oh, nice.
I don't get into the preseason games. I don't either. The Atlantic is a juggernaut of the division. Yeah, it's going to be a strong division again. 4-2 Padres here. 3-2 because it's a best of 5.
I think they win in 4. I think the Padres win in 4. I think the Dodgers get game 2, if I would have to guess, with Flaherty on the mound against Darvish. And then it goes back to San Diego, and they win both in San Diego.
I still kind of think the Dodgers win it, but because everybody remembers 2022.
Yeah, and everybody remembers how the Dodgers continuously choke in the playoffs.
Yep.
But here's the thing. We do the same thing with the Toronto Maple Leafs every year.
You know what? Shut up. Any expectations for Utah, Nick?
I think they can make the playoffs this year. I think this is a team where they've set them. I feel so bad for Arizona when they watch this Utah team have so much fun, young talent, get themselves potentially into a wild card spot. And they could be like, we could be watching Arizona Coyotes hockey in the playoffs right now. Instead, it's the Utah Hockey Club. I think that
Coyotes.
The Utah Coyotes. I think the Utah Coyotes can make a playoff run this year. Now, do they make a deep run? No. Do they make it? I think that's a possibility.
Boston and Tampa should regress this year, helping Ottawa and Buffalo make a case.
I think Tampa is going to be better than people think. I like the addition of Jake Gensel on that team. This is now a team that's had 2 off seasons that they only played 1 round of hockey in the playoffs. And got to remember last year, Vasilevsky got his year started off late because he had the back surgery. Now this is fully healthy Vasilevsky. This is a rested team with new additions with Jake Gensel, I think, who can have a breakout year for Tampa Bay. And they just announced a new captain. Now they lost Stamkos. I like Hedman being the captain, though. I think that's a great move by them there. He's been a leader for this team for a while. I really like this. But, yeah.
There you go. Utah's bottom 5 team. Sabres score the first goal. I hope they do. I like preseason. It shows the coaches' systems, and I like watching the prospects.
It's fair. I did not dive into the preseason whatsoever.
All right, Nick, the first hockey game took us till the 43-minute mark.
Yeah, let's get into it here. We're going to be just talking series and things along those lines, so let's get into it here. Cleveland Guardians are taking on the Detroit Tigers. Now, these are bet online numbers. The series for them to for the Cleveland Guardians opened up at a -140. Now down to a 125. And there's no totals over on Bet Online, but over on Bovada, the over under 4.5 games, plus 145 for the over 4.5, -190 to the under. All these are juiced heavily towards the under. I think that the series that has the best chance to go 5 games would probably be this one. And game 1, it's going to be Tariq Skubal versus Tanner Bybee. I think that's a pretty safe assumption.
Yep.
Which feed me unders in that game. That's all I need in that game is first 5 under, full game under. Both those pitchers have been awesome, but we'll talk about that more tomorrow. And after that, it's pitching chaos for the Detroit Tigers, and let's see if they can continue to string together bullpen games and how long that magic lasts. Cleveland, I'm assuming it'll be Gavin Williams game 2. I feel like that's a pretty safe assumption, and then after that, who knows? The Tigers look like a fun underdog in this one here. And at this number, it tells us that the Tigers are probably the most live dog in any of these series, which
for you, I don't think so.
Well, odds-wise, that's what I was saying. They're plus 105. The Padres are plus 117.
Okay, you have both in that plus 110 on here, so I'm like,
Yeah, the line's moved. Or, the line's moved. But for me, I probably won't be betting a side in this series. I think there'll be value on Cleveland to win the series if Detroit with Tariq Skubal in game 1 go out and win. And that would be, and you're going to get a dog price if it is Skubal on this one. And a little bit of history here. Teams off of a bye since 2022, since they went to the wild card series rather than a wild card game. 4-4 straight up in game 1. The game to fade the team off of the bye is not game 1, it's game 2, where they are 3-5 straight up, and they're 3-5 in the series. With the National League bye teams the last 2 years going 0-4. Granted, those were the Dodgers and the Braves both years.
Yep.
So I don't think I'm moving on any futures in this series. Smalling towards over 4.5 games at plus 145, I think is worth a look here because I think this is a pretty close matchup. So I guess if you think it's a really close matchup, they can go 5 games. It's just maybe a slight lean towards the Tigers. But this is a series where I would rather sit back, see the Tigers win game 1, and maybe I get an intriguing price to back Cleveland after that. Is kind of the way my thought process is going. Because now this is best of 5 rather than best of 3.
I like the Tigers.
Grady Tags.
I like the Tigers in the series. I think they've kind of showed enough. And when we look at playoffs, Nick, what is always the thing that you try to look for in the for teams in the playoffs?
You want
who's the hottest team coming into the playoffs?
Of course.
It's not the best team. It's the hottest team that normally makes it. That's why we saw Arizona make a run. That's why we saw the Rangers make a run last year. We've seen some runs from hot teams. That's why we saw the Phillies make the World Series 2 years ago. We've seen teams get hot and make a run. The Tigers are doing that right now. And I really like the Tigers in this series. I think they win the series maybe in 4 games. I was not high on the Guardians. I think I had the Tigers. No, I might have had I had the Tigers winning. I think I had Tigers versus Orioles in the CS. So I would be inclined to keep rolling with the Tigers here. They haven't done me wrong yet. I've cashed a plus like 130, 140 ticket with them and a 150 ticket with them. So I'm up money on the Tigers. I want to probably keep rolling with the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, gun to head, if you tell me pick a winner in the series, I'll take the Guardians personally. But am I putting any money on that?
No.
Not before game 1.
Nope.
The only way I'll bet Cleveland to win the series is if they lose game 1, which is Skubal on the mound, because after that, I feel like – and here's the thing with the Detroit Tigers. Yeah, their bullpen games are fun. They're tricky, whatever. But they're going up against a team that could probably do a bullpen game better than them. That Cleveland bullpen's unreal.
It is.
They were the best in baseball for most of it, for most of the year. So if there's a team that can counteract a Detroit bullpen game with a bullpen game of their own, there's 2 answers. It's the Cleveland Guardians and the San Diego Padres.
Yep.
That's it.
I like it.
And maybe the Phillies.
Tampa's getting older, turning into the Penguins.
Yeah, I think Penguins under point total will make my futures card as well. I'm not high on the Penguins whatsoever.
You're never high on the Penguins.
I'm not.
Tigers, plus 110 series price is easy. I would never say easy, but I do like that look. Can't wait to say Utah Hockey Club money line against the Leafs in the future. Why not?
You know me. I like my Utah or my
Georgia bounce back tomorrow for sure. I'm on the Georgia bounce back.
I lean the other way. I have not pulled the trigger on it. I want to take a deeper look into 2 other games today that I have not pulled the trigger on for tomorrow. I want to add North Carolina and Auburn are 2 spots I would like.
I don't like Auburn.
Yeah. For me, though, my angle is that Georgia continues to just be overvalued. And I would like to continue to fade Georgia. Because I faded them plenty of times this year. I faded them with Alabama. I faded them with Kentucky. Should have done it with UT Martin. But it was Tennessee Tech. But yeah.
But no, I will say I will be on Georgia first quarter, first half, full game tomorrow.
I would just take Georgia full game. And here's the thing with that, and I get it.
I think they just beat the piss out of Auburn to move on.
I mean, they should. But one thing we've seen with them is the games that they did win and cover, it was a struggle in the first half. This team Georgia's been dominating the first half of football games this year. And maybe Kirby Smart makes that a emphasis that they got to start off strong. But I don't know.
Maybe. I'm on all wildcard teams, game 1 as a top team. so we'll be too rested. I might take Philly in game 1 just because the stadium is stupid energy with the Mets needing to conserve their pitching.
If you're the Mets, who pitches game 1? Severino, right?
Peterson.
Why
not? He pitched what? 10 pitches? 11 pitches? You got the double play? You got a strike? Yeah, I know. Peterson. He gets a day off. Why not? I don't know. Who else would you start?
Severino.
I think Peterson's more rested. As crazy as it sounds. I would go Peterson game 1, Severino game 2.
Okay.
I'm taking Michigan State, super puck line in hockey. Oregon and Wisconsin. I did not touch the Oregon game. I didn't touch either.
I'm on both those. I laid the points with Oregon. I laid the points with whiskey in that one.
Heard. Arizona State puck line in hockey.
They play at the Coyotes old home.
The Coyotes were playing at their old home. I like the Mets money line today.
Could be
tomorrow. Worth the shot if the comeback win. I like it.
I want to know who's pitching for the Mets first. Honestly.
If the Guards are winning 1-0 in the 7th, I will smash the minus 200.
Yeah, I think the Guardians have the opportunity to out bullpen the Tigers, and I think that's why ultimately I know a lot of people are going to love the Tigers in this series. That's why I think the Guardians win this series is because their bullpen will out bullpen the Tigers.
Who's your favorite for the colder?
Joan Dawn for the Utah Hockey Club. That would be one I would look at. Obviously, you can give the obvious answer like it was Connor Bedard last year. You could say Macklin Celebrini. I think that, but if you're looking for a bomb, I would look for Doan for Utah.
Bowling Green in hockey.
Good luck.
I honestly have no clue, so you're just giving out plays. I think Celebrini got injured. Celebrini did get injured in the preseason. NBA preseason, don't care.
Do not care.
Stankoven.
Stankoven's another one that's an interesting look. He's going to get some decent minutes with the Stars this year, which they should be a playoff team again. But yeah. And trying to think who else. No, never mind. I was trying to remember who else was a rookie, but I was going to say Matthew Nyes, but that was last year.
Guards minus 1.5 game 1 easy. I wouldn't say easy.
I would look towards the Guardians -1. But that being said, if it's not Skubal. If it's Skubal, I will not fade the Tigers with Skubal. I learned the lesson the wrong way in game 1 of the Astros series. I will not fade him. I will bet unders in game 1, and then I'll turn around and grab the Guardians game 2 with Gavin Williams.
Markel, it's best of 5 series.
It's best of 5. I think it's 3-2 Guardians. I think the Guardians win in 5.
Series. Yeah, I got you. Celebrini gets the best case because he will get all the top line minutes.
The only problem is he doesn't play with anybody.
Let's talk about the next series, Nick.
Yeah, we have the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. This is the series we all wanted. Line opened up 195 for the Phillies. Got all the way down to a 180, all the way up to a 210, back to a 195. No line movement there. Over under 4.5 games, plus 150 to the over, minus 200 to the under. And we were talking about it here. How do the Mets set up their pitching in this series? That's the ultimate question mark for me. Is it Severino game 1 and then Manaea game 2?
I think Peterson has to get in there somewhere. Or
I was getting there. Or here's the thing: is you have to have Quintana in there as well. I think Peterson's better off in the bullpen. And this is where I like Peterson. He's your insurance policy. Severino has a bad game 1. Let's throw in Peterson. Manaea has a bad game 2. Let's throw in Peterson. Quintana, throw in Peterson. He's your opportunity where if one of those guys are struggling, especially games 1 and 2 in the bank, and the stadium's getting rowdy or whatever, you need to change up the momentum because it's 3-1 Phillies in the 3rd inning. Throw in Peterson.
Yeah,
and that's going to be his role in this series. So that's why I don't think they start him game 1. It's going to be Zach Wheeler game 1, and I don't know who's pitching game 2 yet. I think they announced it. But I would have to go back.
It's got to be Nola.
It's
got to be Wheeler Nola.
Wheeler Nola?
It's got to be Wheeler Nola for sure.
Which the Mets hit Nola. The Mets are not. Nola does not scare the Mets. This is another series where maybe you take a shot with the plus money with the over 4.5 games.
I could see that.
I could see this series going 5 games. I would take a shot with the Mets at this big plus price tag. Because no National League top seed has won a series yet. So we'll see if the Dodgers or the Phillies can break that this year. But I don't see either. I like the National League dogs more than I like the American League dogs. I will say that now. I like the Padres and the Mets more than I like the Royals and the Tigers. So
that makes sense.
And it makes sense, yeah. But I would only look Mets in this series. I would only look to the over in the series because if the Mets get the job done, it's not going to be easy. They need to win one in Citizens Bank Park in the first 2 games.
Yep.
They need to steal the game, and I think it's the game that Nola pitches.
Yeah, I think Philly game 1, Mets game 2.
Philly game 1, Mets game 2, I can see that. And then the Mets take at least one in Citi Field, force a game 5, and anything happens.
And throw everything at them on game 5.
Throw everything at them in game 5. So not as much of a breakdown because I really don't know where the Mets are going with their pitching-wise in this one here. But when I look at this series, and we're seeing this in 3 of the 4 series, the Yankees got bailed out for not having to play a divisional rival. But we have AL Central versus AL Central. We have NL East versus NL East. We have NL West versus NL West. Those divisional matchups, I feel, play really well to the underdog.
I agree.
Because of familiarity there. So I think the Yankees got the best draw in the second round just because the Royals are not as familiar with the Yankees as the Orioles would have been.
Yep.
So I think familiarity breeds confidence with the Mets. And to be an underdog and go in there and potentially steal the series. I would look Mets. I would look over.
I think I'm going to kind of go with the same direction as the Tigers is when you play postseason baseball, Nick, what is the thing that you look for? Team with the most momentum. Who's the hottest team right now in the National League? It's the Mets or is it the Padres? I think you can make an argument for either one.
I would say the Padres.
I mean, since August 1st or June 1st, the Mets are the best team in baseball.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. The Mets did not make it here by mistake.
No, but you look at it; those are the top. Like those are the Mets, Padres, and Tigers are the 3 hottest teams in baseball. And then you got the next series where it's Royals, Yankees, and both of them kind of clunkered into the playoffs. I think the Mets could ride a little bit of momentum, but here's the key. It cannot be 2-0 Phillies coming back to Citi Field.
No, it's over.
If it's 2-0 Phillies coming back to Citi Field, it is over. The Mets have to take 1 out of 2, which if we've seen the last little while, I mean, the Mets have had to play. They haven't been home in 2 weeks. So they're used to playing on the road at this point. I think it's going to end up benefiting them. We'll see how the series goes. I think it's going to be a really fun series because this is the first time that these 2 teams have ever played in the postseason.
Yeah.
And
all I'm going to say, this series is going to be more entertaining than the Brewers-Phillies would have been.
And Phillies, you understand what happens when a team wins the division and then they play a division rival in the playoffs, right? You guys should know very well. You guys beat the Braves the last 2 years after being a wild card team. Wild card breeds momentum. I think that could be a huge factor with the Mets. I think the field is wider than last year for Calder.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Phillies minus 190 has no value.
Yeah.
Came here to do 2 things. Hit the like button and tell you fuckers the Tigers are winning the World Series. Dude, I'm down for a Tigers-Mets World Series. Let's do it.
Them gritty Tigers.
Phillies game 1, Wheeler's the only pitcher to worry about. If I were the Mets, I wouldn't use my ace versus Wheeler. The thing is,
fair.
I don't know if there's necessarily an ace of this Mets staff.
I was going to say, who's the ace? Is it Manaea?
Depends on the day. That's the thing.
Is it Quintana? Is it Severino? Is it Peterson?
It depends on the day for me with who's the Mets ace. That's the thing.
Mets ace is who's ever on the mound that day.
Fun fact, there are 10 players in MLB that make more money than the entire Tigers lineup, which is hilarious. Sweep. Go Tigers, dude. Go Tigers. I like Mets game 2 and game 3. I would love to see it.
Yeah, I'm not as confident on game 1, but yeah.
Do the Phillies have a hitting advantage? Probably slightly, but nothing crazy.
Recently, probably not, though.
I like Doan Stott plus 5,000. Who do Hudson and Gunther play? Gunther play.
I don't know. I would have to look deeper into that. I don't know rookies that well.
Phillies do have hitting advantage on paper, but Mets have vibe advantage.
Also, you got to keep in mind the Mets have Grimace.
Yeah, Mets have Grimace. So there you go. How do we cap vibe? I don't know if we can.
You just embrace the power of Grimace.
Are you actually? That is fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
I will be on the Tigers that game for sure. Let's keep rolling through the series, even though we're going to be talking all these games again tomorrow, but we're
talking about this in the series aspect.
Yeah.
Let's get into the next one here. This one's interesting. The Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees. This line opened up, Yankees minus 210. It's now 195. We have a 15-cent line movement here towards the Kansas City Royals. This line is a 4.5 plus 160 to the over, minus 210 to the under in this game here. For the Yankees, minus 1.5 games is plus 110. By the way, the previous series, Phillies minus 1.5, plus 135. Guardians plus 1.5, or minus 1.5, plus 165. So there's that. And looking at this series here, it's going to be Michael Waka taking on Garrett Cole for game one, which I'm assuming it's going to be Cole Reagans versus Carlos Rodon.
They've already said that.
Absolute cinema that game is going to be. Two really fun lefties with Rodon and Reagans. I look forward to unders in that game. Galore. This first game, though, I think the Yankees win. I think the Yankees win with Cole on the mound versus Waka. I do. And I'm not a fan of the Royals here in this spot. I think the Yankees win this series. You can lay the 1.5 with them. I think this is the one series. If there is a series where I'm going to say the most confident for a favorite to win, it's the New York Yankees.
That's gross.
It is, but I like the dogs in the NL, and I think that the other AL series is a toss-up. So I think this is a spot where this is the only favorite I have any type of confidence in. They have the pitching edge in game one to go out there and get the job done. I'm worried about game two for them now because I do see Reagans as a massive pitching advantage over Rodon. But this Yankees team against lefties, I believe, was pretty good. So it's not like they have difficulties hitting lefties. Yeah. And here's the thing with the Royals is it in that game, which will make me like unders. The Royals are the worst team in baseball against lefties the last 30 days. So this is a Royals team where in game two against Rodon, I think Rodon can go out there and shut them down type of thing. And the Yankees were ninth at 107 WRC plus last 30 days against lefties. So I do think even though Reagans will have the pitching advantage, I think the bullpen edge and the hitting edge would go to the Yanks. And I think the Yanks can take both games at home and head to Kansas City with an opportunity to potentially sweep. So my guess is if I'm fading any of the wild card teams in this round, it's the Royals.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think they are the weakest link of these teams. And that was the series I had the least amount of interest in the wild card round, which I happened to go 4-0 on. It was that Baltimore Kansas City series with just nothing but unders. But can they do it again against a much better Yankees lineup with Judge and Soto in the lineup? I can only look Yankees in the series is the way I would approach this one.
I don't blame you on that one. The Yankees are definitely probably more appealing as probably the most appealing favorite just because they're not going up against a division rival.
Yeah, that too.
So you could look at it that way, but I still think I'm going to end up pulling the trigger on every single wild card team in game one. Just going momentum over momentum over rest kind of deal. That's kind of my approach to it, but I do think the Yankees probably end up winning the series quite handily. And the Royals have been a fun story. Trust me, I've been high on the Royals the entire year. So I don't think the games are going to be blowouts. I think it's going to be very close series. Like, Yankee run lines are probably not going to cash in their wins.
No, and game one -1 is -150. I need to find a different way to bet the Yankees in game one, though.
Yeah, you'll have to find a different way to bet them there, but I strongly believe that that it's going to be an interesting kind of – the games will be very close, but it's going to come down to late in the game, and that's where That's where the Royals could fall apart with a very shaky bullpen.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe it's unders. Maybe it's unders in this.
It could be unders. It could be heavy unders in the series for sure.
But I think if I'm moving on a series prop for this one, because we're talking about series futures right now, if I won -125, the Yankees to win Game 1 in the series.
That's not a bad option.
That would be the way I would go if I'm betting the series. Is Yankees Game 1 and series.
How about Guardians Game 2 and the Yankees to win the series?
What?
Sorry, Royals Game 2 to win Game 2, and then the Yankees to win the series.
Like the way Yankees to win the series in 4?
Just win the series in general, but the Royals would win Game 2.
Here you go. Ready? Yankees Game 1, Royals Game 2, Yankees Game 3, Yankees Game 4. All right? They win both in Kansas City. They split in New York, with the Royals winning Game 2 is +850.
With Reagans.
With Reagans.
I think that could be an interesting prop.
You can get Yankees to sweep at +325.
No, I don't think they sweep.
Yankees 3-1 in general is +250.
Hell yeah, Brody. I'll be there right behind home plate.
There you go.
Royals +175. Anyone but the Yankees to win the World Series, please. I would have to. I'm Tim Earle. I approve this message.
Yes, I think the Yankees make the World Series, though.
I think they make the World Series, unfortunately, but I would really hope they don't.
It's just because they have a cakewalk. Is really it?
This game is weird. Don't trust Cole this year. I am on the over and Witt over bases.
I think Cole shoves Game 1.
He's either going to shove or he's going to get blown up. I don't think there's going to be an in-between.
True.
I don't think he's going to go 6 innings of 3 runs. It's either going to be 8 innings of no earned runs or 1 earned run, or it's going to be out in less than 4 innings, giving up 6. Salvador Perez will not let his team lose to the Yankees. I hope so. I love Salvi. Soundboard voice. If the Mets win, it's the Mets, baby. Grab the Mets Game 1, 160-ish. I like it. Royals have the better record versus Yankees this season. Do they actually?
Yeah, they played well against the Yankees this year.
I thought they almost got swept one time.
And also the Brewers won 5-6 against the Mets. What are we talking about, though?
Just take the home run props in Little Yankee Stadium. Cole hasn't necessarily been bad since he's returned from that injury, but he hasn't looked the same.
Also, Judge has done nothing in the playoffs.
They haven't played a game yet.
No, like
I was about to say they haven't played a game.
In his career, he's done nothing in the playoffs.
Bobby Witt looks like a gamer so far. He limped into the postseason and all of a sudden woke up as one of the most impressive players so far. Lindor, Bobby, and Tatis have been standouts. I would agree.
Yeah. Lindor really didn't do anything until Game 3, though.
Lindor was part of the Game 1 win.
Yeah, but his main impact was in Game 3.
Yeah. Walker is a dumb pitcher to set the tone with this series with.
Yeah, but is Reagan's on enough rest is the ultimate question.
Limped in like Witt was injured. He looked amazing this year.
Witt had one of the best seasons a shortstop has ever had. If there wasn't Aaron Judge in the American League, he would have ran away with the MVP.
I agree. And here's the last series we'll talk about.
Let's get into it. San Diego Padres, Los Angeles Dodgers. Line opened up around 140, down to a 137. It got down to a 130 at one point. The total for this series is 4.5 games, plus 150 to the over, minus 200 to the under. And we already know what the matchups are going to be for this series. And Dylan Cease versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto is Game 1. Jack Flaherty versus Yu Darvish, Game 2 in LA. We don't know. After that, Joe Musgrove's status is up in the air for this series, so we don't know whether or not he's going to pitch.
That sucks.
In Game 3, if it's not Michael King, we riot. Like, he looked phenomenal in that game against the Braves. Granted, it was a Braves team off of a doubleheader with travel and injuries. And still, you go out there 7 innings of 12 strikeout baseball.
That's absolutely very impressive.
Very impressive. You keep him in San Diego, though. Like, I think King, you want him pitching at home.
Yeah.
Yu Darvish has dealt with crowds like this before. Cease has dealt with crowds like this before. And when you look at this matchup here, game one, I'm going to be on the Padres. This line opened up at 135, it's down to 128. I think the Padres win this series, and I am hoping just for and I care more about the National League than I do the American League, because if I can get Mets Padres in the National League Championship Series, either my Mets are going to the World Series, I'm cashing 16 and with the Padres. And that is probably the best position I can ever be in. So I like the Padres to win this series. And here's the thing. The Padres showed that they are not scared of the LA Dodgers.
Yep.
They won 8 of 5 this year, 8 of 13 against them this year. They won 7 of the first 10 against them this year. They don't give a fuck that they're the Dodgers. They don't care about Ohtani. They don't care about Betts. And here's the thing. When you're looking at the pitching advantage in the series, it's 100% on the Padres side. Like, when you go into this matchup, the only one I'm truly scared about is game 2 with Darvish.
Yeah.
And Darvish has pitched in the big games before, though.
Mm-hmm.
He's pitched in a World Series before, multiple times. So I'm going to be on the Padres to win this series. This is a Padres team that I've been hyping up for a while now. Obviously, I have futures on them. I think this is the best team in baseball at the moment. And I don't think they lose this series. Whether it's in 4 games or 5 games, I think the Padres win the series. I want to say Padres in 4. I don't trust this Dodgers pitching staff. And we have Jack Flaherty, who's still a question mark for me in the playoffs. I don't think we've seen him much in the playoffs. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, what is he going to look like in the playoffs? And after that, who the hell is pitching for them? Walker Buehler, like, he started to look a little bit better. Game 3, King versus Buehler, I will have a big bet on the Padres.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be on the San Diego Padres to win the series.
I will say, I think the series goes 5 games. And pitching's not going to win the series for the Dodgers. It's going to have to be their offense. I strongly believe it's got to be the offense for the Dodgers. Mookie Betts has to show up. Ohtani has to show up with his Cocomelon. Freeman's got to show up. Freeman's healthy, right? He should be healthy.
Yeah, he was out the last couple of games of the regular season.
Which means nothing.
Which means nothing. I think that was more precaution than anything.
And they even got to get some, like, Max Muncy has to go off. Will Smith has to go off. They're gonna need a lot of help from the offense in order to win against the Padres. I'm gonna say this series goes 5 games, Nick. And I will say, I know a lot of people like yourself are gonna love the Padres. I think Dodgers in 5. I think the Dodgers win this series in 5 games. So, I think it's going to be this series, and I know my Mets are playing. I think this series is going to be the best series.
It's going to be electric. Electric.
At least the games in San Diego will be.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
The games in LA will be for until about the 5th inning and the fans start to go home. But
because the Dodgers are more of a wine and cheese crowd. Like, people
they really
go
are.
there. It's more celebrities go there. And it's kind of like comparing, like, in our state, the ECU crowd compared to a UNC crowd.
Yep. But this series will definitely be the most fun. And least stressful because I don't really care who wins.
I do. Yeah. I will be on the Padres to win the series.
Lindor's defense looked great. Lindor's always had good defense.
Yeah.
Dodgers team total over. I like Yamamoto revenge game here now. I know it's him.
Oh, that's right. Game 2 in Korea. I won the Padres money line in the first inning because he got lit up and smoked.
Yeah, but that was all the way in the first game. I don't know. Padres series, Dodgers choke again.
Yeah, the Dodgers have not won a single. They have played in back-to-back NLDSs, and they have played to a record of 1-6. They got swept last year, and maybe that's in the back of their heads. But here's the thing with the Dodgers. Let's just say we're in Game 3. The Padres are up, the Padres win, and it's 2-1 or whatever. In Game 4, Padres jump off to like a 1-0 lead. Doesn't it feel like this Dodgers team can mentally fold?
They could.
Like the Dodgers are reminding me of the Toronto Maple Leafs a little bit as well.
Definitely could be. Yeah.
Where they're a team that will play a good regular season, and then when the lights get the brightest, they disappear.
Could be. I would bet Padres if they started with Jack. Yamamoto is going to shove. You heard it here first.
I mean, unders is probably a decent look because I love Dylan Cease too. So,
any confirmations on Freddie and Rojas?
I don't know yet. I'm assuming they will play, but check in when they announce the DS lineups.
Nick has been fading the Dodgers all year long, and they ended up being the best team in the MLB.
Yeah, but I said heading into the year, and the reason why I liked fading them was I said that they were not going to win 100 games, and here's the thing is they soared under their win total.
Yep.
It was absolutely hilarious. They put them at 103.5, and they finished with 98. I still have to go back and look. Yeah, looking on covers, the Dodgers went 98 and 64, 34 games over 500, and according to covers, they made you negative $25 if you put $100 on them every game. They were not a positive team to bet on. Now, on the flip side, they probably weren't a positive team to bet against because juice.
Yeah.
That's what I'll put that on, is juice.
Padres are a live dog. Mookie is not going to play like last year. A public dog.
Yeah, I think that's the one argument you can make for the Dodgers is kind of everyone's counting them out.
Yep. Roberts is the only thing I don't trust.
I don't trust Dave Roberts in the playoffs.
UNLV line has dropped as well as the total. Anyone know why?
Oh, I don't like that.
No, I don't know because I'm on the over in that game. So
I got UNLV at 6.5.
Heard. But that is everything for today. We talked about the hockey game.
One-game card.
We talked the hockey game. We talked the series. Obviously, we'll be talking the series again tomorrow. Well, Nick will be. I won't be here because I'll be driving home tomorrow. I actually won't be here the next 2 days because I work at 10:30 the next 2 days. So, but I'll be back on Monday. And we'll see how some of these series have gone. But that let's put the CapperTeks in there, which still in the positive profit in the CapperTek for me, which is very, very nice. Make sure you guys follow that. That's where you can find all of my plays. And we'll see you guys in the next edition of the ESP show. Peace out, and let's fucking go Mets.